Committee meeting, and I'm gonna ask that we please introduce ourselves, starting to my left, if you will, Commissioner.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Brian Scott, Pinellas County Commission.
Thank you.
Chris Shear, Pinellas County Commission.
Good morning, Tom Reed, City of South Pasadena.
Patty Reed, City of Pinellas Park.
All right, well, welcome. We're gonna first ask, do we have any public comment for this morning's meeting? Having no public comment, we're gonna now move on to our action items, and the first would be 3A, approval of our January 7th, 2026 meeting. I entertain a motion.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, we'll move on to action item 3B, which is our committee appointment, and that would be presented by our very own Mr. Brad Miller. Good morning.
Good morning. So PSTA has a nominating committee that meets to typically appoint, make recommendations to the board of board officers and committee appointments. But the rules and regulations of PSTA allow the executive committee to also appoint members, especially if there's just one, rather than getting the nominating committee together for one appointment. And St. Petersburg appointed Commissioner Councilman Richie Floyd to PSTA, and there is a vacancy on the planning committee, so the recommendation is to appoint him to the planning committee of PSTA. The goal is to have every board member at least be on one committee, to spread it around, sort of, so that would be my recommendation, is to appoint him to the planning committee.
Anyone have any questions?
Is he interested in doing that?
He is, he's willing.
Are we gonna voluntold?
Does he voluntold?
Yeah.
We hear no questions. I entertain a motion to accept the committee appointment.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Brad, for
Thank you.
that. Now we're gonna move on to item 3C, where we're gonna welcome Ms. Trish Collins, who's going to present our Vision 2030 strategic plan. Good morning, Ms. Collins.
Good morning, everyone.
How are you?
Oh, I'm a little chilly, but
I'm cold.
I'm over it.
That too.
Oh, great.
We needed a reminder of why we all moved here. We
Right.
weren't born here.
I
Yeah,
feel
right.
like we make a bargain with Florida, don't we? We put up with a lot of strange stuff here, alligators and all kinds of things. And I just feel like I shouldn't have to see my breath in the morning as part of that bargain. All right. Well, good morning again. My name's Trish Collins. I'm the Director of Human Resources for PSTA, and I have had the pleasure of working with the board and with our executive team to create a new 5-year look ahead called Vision 2030. This is our strategic plan that outlines the priorities and the related projects and initiatives that we will carry out over the next 5 years. This plan is really designed to stem from the board's vision and to drive alignment with that vision through everything else that we do here. Our budget process, our capital planning, our strategic scorecard, even our performance reviews for employees. Everything is driven from this plan. Now, you'll recall we started this process in spring of last year with the board workshops, where we were focused on developing the FY26 budget and also on creating, soliciting from the board what the top priorities were for the agency in your vision. And we coalesced around, and the board adopted in the summer, these 3 key priorities: financial responsibility, operational excellence, and community impact. This plan that you're holding outlines the projects and initiatives within each of those priorities that will be key for defining success over the next 5 years. Now, what I'd like to do is draw your attention to our list of projects in this plan. If you would turn to page 6, you'll see the beginning of a chart that focuses on the projects for the next 5 years. The first section on page 6 is financial responsibility. And you'll see that there are projects divided under financial responsibility into 3 key areas: increasing ridership and non-tax revenue, state of good repair projects, and projects related to improved processes and decision-making. And within there, you'll see the detail of the things that we believe drive those priorities the most effectively and efficiently, like increasing ridership and non-tax revenue through increasing our UPass program and increasing opportunities for advertising revenue. Increasing our state of good repair by constructing new bus bays at Largo Terminal and at Countryside Mall. And improving our processes and decision-making strategies by doing a deep dive financial analysis on our contracted services. Those are just a couple of what you can see are quite a number of projects and initiatives slated for the next 5 years to drive our performance in financial responsibility. I'll ask if you would turn then to page 8, where we begin the slate of projects related to operational excellence. So in this section, we are focusing on projects like completing our construction and opening operation of our Clearwater Station, initiating premium transit service, like service along Alt 19, and new service that will go from downtown St. Pete to Tampa International Airport. Also completing an RFP on our mobility on demand services, and conducting safety campaigns on the buses and implementing a new cybersecurity program. Then finally, on page 12, you'll see a slate of projects that are related to community impact. And this section includes projects like implementing a fresh recruiting and onboarding strategy, demonstrating changes that stem from the 2025 Employee Engagement Survey, and working with the City of St. Pete to ensure that multimodal transit is a part of future gas plant redevelopment plans. So this is our roadmap. This is the plan for the next 5 years. Every project we have talked about with the board is in this plan, and this is what we intend to stick to. It should, and I hope it does, represent the vision of the board and the priorities that we have heard from you over the last 9 months about your vision for the agency and what you consider most important for PSTA's success. So we're asking for your scrutinized review of this. We'll be bringing this to the planning committee in a couple of weeks' time, and then finally to the board at the end of the month, where we hope for adoption. Following that, this year's spring board workshops will center around advancing the projects that are in this program for the upcoming FY27 fiscal year. And you'll also see that this forms the basis of our scorecard and employee reviews and goals moving forward as well. So with that, I'd like to turn over for conversation, discussion, questions. I will turn it back over to our chair.
Okay, thank you so much, Commissioner Scott.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thanks, Trish.
Yeah.
Appreciate that very much. A quick question, so they construct 2 additional bays at Largo Walmart. Is that to add service, or is it just overcrowded there? What's the thought behind that?
Oh, yes.
Oh, thank you, Nicole. Have subject matter expert come discuss that.
Nicole Dufa, Director of Planning and Scheduling. So one of the improvements that we instituted in the Connected Community Bus Network was more pulsed timing of routes so that
Okay.
facilitate the ease of transfers. Adding additional bus bays at Largo Transit Center would allow all the buses that use Largo Transit Center to meet together and allow folks to be able to transfer between those routes most effectively.
Okay.
Right now, they've been offset, and so they don't have the perfect transfer. They still have to wait between 15 and 30 minutes for the next bus. So with the Largo bays, it would just improve that experience for the rider.
Okay, all right, great, thank you. And Countryside Mall Bus Bay, I think that's a great, finding some pull-out options there would be great.
Safe things.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Commissioner
Thank you,
Lee.
Madam Chair. Thank you, Trish. Dive deeper into this alternative revenue source, primarily the naming rights. I'm interested in that. That caught my eye and like, I mean, I think it's a great idea. Like, how has it been implemented in other transit authorities
What
across
page
the
you
country?
on?
Good morning, I am
Project list under financial
Director
responsibility.
of Communications and Marketing, Amanda Baird. I run all of our advertising programs as part of my duties. Naming rights is my project. We have looked at some of our peer agencies across the country as well as other local municipalities here, right here, such as Clearwater, the Baycare Sound. Lovingly brought to you by Baycare. So we were talking to some of our partners across the country. San Diego has one line that is sponsored by the local health systems, as well as I believe it's Cincinnati has the health line. So we're looking at exploring some kind of naming rights opportunities, presenting sponsorships, if you will, for the upcoming Tampa Bay ferry service. As well as some of our other premium transit routes. I am working on an RFP for a naming rights broker. I'm talking to some of those other peers to get best practices for that RFP before I write a full scope. But basically trying to get some private funding for our transit services.
Thank you. I think that's great, getting the alternative revenue sources. The Budweiser Sunrunner could be coming soon.
Now let's go all the way to Cannabis Sunrunner, right?
There you go.
Okay. Done, Commissioner Rea?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Shaw.
Thank you, Chair. You wanna incorporate comments, when do you want comments from? Do you have a cutoff on, are you looking for individual comments from board members by a certain date?
we certainly would like comments.
I would say tentatively we're gonna present this to the planning committee also, and then this month, anytime this month, with the February 25th board meeting is the goal to take it to before the board. And
On February 25th?
Yeah.
So you're gonna take this for final approval to the board
yeah,
on 25th?
so if you have any comments by February
Now's a
25th.
good time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, good? Commissioner Rea.
Um,
Scott, I'm sorry.
Thank you. I don't know if this is a question for Trish or Brad, but the when does DOT anticipate having the express lanes open on Howard Franklin, any idea?
That's a good question. I've been asking, it's been delayed. And the answer that they just gave me was this summer. The lanes should be opened from some point in Pinellas across the bridge. But they, also the 60 interchange, the express lanes through the new and improved 60 interchange are in phase 2 of that project, so that's a ways off. So for a long while, there'll be express lanes on the bridge to Pinellas, and then they're gonna take you off and into the regular lane, into the regular lanes at the end of the bridge to get to the airport. So it's not gonna be great for a little while, but it's gonna be a little bit of improvement across the bridge at least.
Right, okay.
That's when we try to get that going.
So is the vision then, I'm just kind of looking here, so to implement express service from St. Pete down to the TPA
Yeah.
and then cut 100X?
Well, yeah, I mean, it would be to take the 100X from going over Gandy and put it on the
Okay,
bridge.
on the Howard Franklin,
Onto-
okay.
yeah.
So we're just gonna kind of reroute the 100X then?
Yeah.
More or less.
We're trying to, Nicole is trying to negotiate with St. Petersburg on a possible park and ride. Where a secure place in St. Petersburg where you can park your car and take the bus and be lower cost than the economy parking at TPA.
Mhm.
And so the 100X routing in downtown St. Pete might change a little bit, but
Right.
it basically would be similar, except it would go over the Howard Franklin.
Well, I know of about 86 acres that might be coming available.
Yeah.
Don't say that. Okay, any other questions? So, Ms. Trish, so this is an action item for us today, and I do hear commissioners wanting to actually review it a little more and make recommendations. So the next PSTA planning meeting is the 18th. So are you requesting these comments, recommendations, feedback by the presentation for the planning committee?
I would love that, yeah.
Okay, so with that being said, the action item that we're taking today is to approve the strategic plan as presented today, pending,
Pending,
okay,
yes.
Any comments?
okay.
I mean, it doesn't need to be an action item if you don't want to.
I mean, so we're kind of approving a draft.
Pretty
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
much, I guess that's the clarification we're getting, okay, because we don't wanna alleviate the possibility of making changes.
Right.
Okay, gotcha. So with that being, I mean, it's up to the committee if you want to consider it an action item or leave it up to the planning committee to move it to be presented to the full board.
I would like at least a few days to let this
Yeah.
over before I.
Okay,
I think we just kind of received the report and then provide any comments.
okay. All right, well, this is no longer an action item, and thank you, Ms. Collins, for the presentation.
Thank you.
And committee members, if you would, please review it and get those comments to Ms. Collins prior to February 18th. If you would, well, actually before that, cause they meet on the 18th, and you need to find a way to try to incorporate the changes for presentation to that planning meeting.
Oh, if someone has a calendar and can look at the Friday prior to
I
that.
have it up right here, and the Friday prior is
13.
the 13th.
Thank you, that
Friday
would be
the
a wonderful day.
Friday the 13th. So if we can have those recommendations and changes by February 13th. Thank you again, Ms. Collins.
Thank you so much.
Commissioners, for the conversation. So now we're gonna move on to our information items, 4A, which is our fiscal 26 quarter one scorecard. Again, that's you, Ms. Collins.
Well, I kind of love that I'm presenting these items back to back because the idea is that the strategic plan drives what we're measuring on the scorecard. And you'll see that we have organized the scorecard already by the 3 priority areas that were approved by the board back in the summer. So we have goals that are related to financial responsibility, operational excellence, and community impact. Just as a navigation on this page, you'll see the priority areas are listed all the way on the left. Each metric has a unique code just to make it a little easier to discuss them. Moving across towards the right-hand side of the page, every metric has a short definition, what the performance goal is, what is the target that we're trying to meet. And then you'll see as we progress throughout the year, the quarterly results and the points that we earn based on those results are listed in the columns towards the right, with a final column year-to-date over on the far right, it's tallying up our performance for the entire year. I'll draw your attention down to the bottom right-hand corner. We are doing quite well in our goals and have achieved 102 points out of 100. The quick color coding will show you at a glance those goals that are either being met or exceeded are in green. So things like our employee retention, our fair and equivalent revenue growth, our budget adherence, our fuel efficiency. Then we have a couple of items below. Those are goals that are within 10% of the performance target, but we're not quite there. Our average net subsidy per ride, you'll see, is a little bit above the target that we're aiming for on that. Our Clearwater station is back on track as of now, but at the end of December, when this was measured, there was one item still outstanding that's now been completed. And our ridership was for the first quarter a bit below the target that we were aiming for. And then you'll see we just have one metric that is in red. That's any metric that's 10% or more below what we're aiming for. And with that, we are looking to continue to improve the collision rate that we have out on the road by rolling out additional safety training, signs and messaging to our drivers, and also continuing to look for root causes that we can target to address. So with that, we're very pleased with our first quarter results. Not every metric is perfect, but this tool is designed not only to transparently report how we're doing, but also to focus staff attention on those areas that need it the most, which is what we're doing. So with that, I'd love to turn it back over for any questions or comments.
Commissioner Reed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Trish.
Yes.
I just wanna make sure I'm understanding under the fair and equivalent revenue growth, the objective or performance goal rather is 1% growth and we've achieved 17.84.
Right, so
That's accurate. How do you attribute, what do you attribute that to?
yeah, that certainly caught our eyes as well. Would you like to speak to that, Amanda?
Fair equivalent revenue largely includes our UPass program, is where the bulk of that comes from. And we are very pleased to have brought on some very large new contracts this year.
Yeah.
Good deal. All right, thank you for clarifying that for me. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Yes,
Quick question.
Commissioner Scott.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On the safety side, I just noticed that the accident rate is not where we want it to be. Is there anything particular driving that, or?
I would love to have someone from operations here to speak to that. What they shared was that they were still investigating the cause of increased collisions. We have a database that tracks exactly where and when and the information surrounding each metric that helps our team do some deep diving into root causes. What I do know is that the training department is rolling out some additional defensive driving training to make sure the drivers have a refresher on that.
Are we using AI cameras to track driver behavior?
We are using AI cameras in staff cars, so those are the non-bus vehicles that drivers use maybe to get to the bus that they're gonna meet out on the road, and those are proving to be really effective. One of the projects in the strategic plan is to look at using those in the buses as well.
Yeah, I would, I mean, it's kind of a costly upgrade, but particularly with bills in Tallahassee looking to up those sovereign immunity limits, it's probably a worthwhile investment.
Very good point.
So, okay, thanks.
Thank you. And that's a great question. So this takes in not only our bus transit, but our individual vehicles that are out there on the road. This is all inclusive.
Oh,
We don't
this
have a breakdown?
this metric is just our fixed route buses,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Apart from those buses, we have deployed the AI camera on other
Okay,
vehicles that are
okay,
used, but
okay,
those
thank-
aren't included in the metric.
Okay, thank you for that clarity. Any other questions? Well, once again, other than I can't read it, thank you. You know, with age comes diminished vision. But well, thank you so much for that, Trish, with that, and having no other questions or comments. Now we will move to our February board agenda, and that will be Brad.
Thank you. So in your packet is the draft agenda for February 25th, and we do, as we discussed, Trish is on there for strategic plan, but if that doesn't need, if that needs to move for an action item in February, we can obviously go another month on that. It's gonna be a pretty challenging month with some major items that I wanna call your attention to. Of course, on the consent agenda, but that'll be subject to the finance committee's review. We've got the committee appointment that we just made for Richie Floyd. The agreement with St. Petersburg for the CRA study. This is a sort of after the fact situation where the city of St. Petersburg has finally agreed to the agreement that we approved a while ago, like last summer.
Yes.
And they made some adjustments just to the dates, and so we have to take it back to the board, but there's no cost for PSDA. 4D is the claim settlement that will go to the finance committee, but that is setting aside funds for the accident that happened on December 19th, where a bus operator right out here, turned left, and a car hit the bus, and the passenger in the car died. And so that was a major accident that appears as if the PSA bus operator turned left on a red arrow, sort of in front of the car. It was at night, it was like 10 o'clock at night, right by the Marriott over there. And it was a really tragic situation. So Diane is working on that and she'll have an update for the finance committee. On that, online verification software is Kessia, our IT director, is working on we have a grant to provide an ability, someday, this is gonna happen, I don't know when, you'll be able to go on your phone and you'll be able to, if you qualify for a discount, like you're a senior or a veteran or a student or whatever, you'll be able to upload a virtual ID to the system so that we can verify that you are that, and then you get the discount on your credit card. Right now, you have to go talk to a person at PSDA, a human, and show your ID, and then they give you a Flamingo card. But tourists and things like that, they don't usually go to a transit hub, and they wanna pay with credit card now. And it's good for our revenue because they pay full price, even though they qualify for a discount. There's a track appointment, and then we are out on the street with a bid for new bus stop signs that will be rolled out. A contract for the actual manufacturing of the bus stop signs will be on the finance committee. Then we move to our more significant items, and I wanna update you on this item 6A, which is the Microsoft license certified reseller contract with SHI Corporation. So this is a very unfortunate situation. I want to make the executive committee, and I'll send an email out to the full board, aware of a theft of $178,000 that has happened to PSDA. I'm grateful for Debbie, Leas, Al Burns, and Kessia's efforts to try to recover these funds, but so far we have been unsuccessful. Unfortunately, the contractor that we approved back in December to provide the Microsoft licenses for PSDA is a company called TSW LLC from Decatur, Georgia. They were awarded the contract on December 3rd to provide the PSA and Microsoft licenses for the next 3 years, but they have failed to do so, despite having been paid for their year one licenses of $177,728.79. They have ceased almost all communications with PSDA over the last couple of weeks, and therefore we believe we've possibly lost this year one payment again of $177,728. Now we are moving on to working with law enforcement to try and recover the stolen funds. So just to recap, December 3rd, the PSA board approved this contract with TSW LLC, which was the lowest bidder on a procurement that was done back in November. It was a $396,000 contract, and year one was the $177,000. The check was sent to TSW the week after the board meeting on December 11th, and then they cashed the check a week later on December 18th. The day after we sent the check, there was a kickoff meeting with PSDA's IT department, finance department, and procurement departments that was normal with this TSW LLC. But then 2 days before Christmas, on December 23rd, Microsoft notified PSDA that TSW was not properly certified by Microsoft to provide the licenses that we need. On the first day after the holidays, Monday, January 5th, PSDA IT department and procurement departments met via Microsoft Teams with TSW and confirmed that they could provide the licenses, and there was this dispute. And on that same day, the IT department found out through a portal on the Microsoft website, Microsoft, that TSW had attempted, that they were attempting to provide the licenses that we need at PSDA. But then on Friday, January 9th, Microsoft confirmed again to PSDA that TSW was not authorized to provide the licenses that PSDA needs. In the last 3 weeks, we have sent hundreds of emails and phone call attempts, certified letters mailed by PSDA, and demand letters mailed by our general counsel to TSW. No significant communication has occurred. Last week, Al got an email from what we believe to be a TSW email stating that they had returned the money, the $178,000 via ACH payment to PSDA, but as of today, we have not received the money, the payment. Then yesterday, we got another email, a more detailed email from TSW Farnsworth, somebody named Farnsworth, that stated that they apologized for some kind of error in the transmission of our money back, and that they promised that, again, that they were sending the money to our bank. As you know, Al likes to say he has positive energy. Last night he said he does not have positive energy.
Their website's down.
Their website also changed yesterday from .com to .net. Now it is, if you go to the same website, but now it's a .net. So on Monday, PSA notified the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office. They have an investigator investigating it. We've notified the Florida and Georgia Attorney General's Office, the FBI, the state Secretary of State of Georgia.
Yes.
Is investigating this. We hired a private investigator to try to find the whereabouts of the TSW leaders. But so far, well, on the flip side, we also identified on Microsoft has different portals or chat areas or whatever, and we have found that other companies have complained about this TSW company, that they've had very similar situations where they've not gotten the licenses that they paid for from this company in the past. So I'm not sure if the law enforcement efforts are gonna be successful. Al has done a good job reviewing all the procurement procedures that we conducted for this procurement and determined that we did complete all the steps we normally do. The company was properly licensed in Florida by Sunbiz. It was not debarred or flagged by SAMS.gov, which is the federal government contracting website that we check every time. One thing that we're gonna do in the future is we're gonna add reference checks to new contractors that we have. Al has reviewed the procurement, and the second lowest bidder is this company SHI, and confirmed with Microsoft. Microsoft has now provided a list of 6 companies that are eligible to provide the kind of licenses that we need, and SHI is on that list. So that we're gonna take that contract to the Finance Committee to get the licenses we need, but very hopeful that we can still somehow recoup the funding, but I'm not that hopeful of it. So it's something that we obviously have to learn from, but just a reminder to all of us that you have to be very careful with this online stuff.
Okay, Commissioner Scott.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Do we have to go through a third-party reseller? Can we go directly to Microsoft?
That's gonna be my question.
Good morning, Madam Chair, committee members. Good morning, Finance Chair, Commissioner Reed. To answer to your question is, we cannot go directly to Microsoft. You have to go through a value-added reseller or VAR.
What was the total value of the contract?
$377 for the 3 years, for 3 years.
What's the
I'm sorry, $396 for the 3 years, and then the $177 was the year one. Startup.
so the next highest bidder there, what's their total price?
They were over the 3 years, they're about $100,000 more, they were more. But their year one was a little bit less.
So they're about 500,000?
Yeah. I think so.
So this company is located in Georgia, I take it then?
Well,
Is it-
yeah, that's the address on the website, although on Sunbiz, they have other addresses in Miami, Florida area, and so the letters we sent are to all these different locations, and that's the idea of using our private investigator that we use for claims and things to try to find the whereabouts of these people.
To answer to your question, Commissioner, the total price for SHI is $440,539.38.
Okay.
For the base term, it's $146,846.
Well, it stinks.
Commissioner Reed.
Is there a way to go through Microsoft first to make sure that they're authorized?
That's what we're doing now.
No, prior to, so now we're gonna implement that instead of.
Correct. During the process, we did check with Microsoft, and according to Microsoft, and I have it here, they said we could still contract with Technology Solutions Worldwide. So they were a value-added reseller. They just did not have the authorization to sell the license package that we were looking for.
Special place for people like them.
How do you typically verify somebody's licensing authority? How do you, we've done this before.
Very good question, Commissioner. Typically with other software platforms, big robust software platforms like Microsoft, there's a list that lists out who their value-added resellers are. So you can actually go to their website or give them a call directly and say, who are your value-added resellers? And Microsoft, yesterday or last night, I listened to our Teams meeting recording that I had with Microsoft, and they said that's not that straightforward with Microsoft. And even our representative, Microsoft rep, had to do, I won't say a deep dive, but they had to go and hunt to check and see if TSW was actually a value-added reseller themselves. So they said, Al, there's no list or a list that you could go to and find out who all the value-added resellers are. So to piggyback off what I told Commissioner Reed, I told him of the situation. I said, hey, look, I need to know who I could do business with, that the next time I take this to the Finance Committee, if allowed to take it to the Finance Committee, that I can assure them that whoever we bring to the table for a contract award is certified. And they provided me 6 contractors that are certified, and SHI, who is our incumbent, is one of those 6.
Have we talked to have you been speaking to Microsoft at all? Like, did we,
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir.
what is are they just like, whoop, sorry for you?
They said to go through our legal.
Oh, about
The
going after this
yeah.
TSW?
Now, one of the things, Commissioner Share, that we are looking at is working with Department of Managed Services, which is the state of Florida, and notifying them of this and potentially having them debarred or suspended from doing business in the great state of Florida.
Right, so Commissioner Reed, I know, were you finished? Cause I know Commissioner Shear, okay, are you done, Commissioner Shear? I just wanna make sure.
I'm just thinking of questions.
And well, you know what, there are a lot, cause I have mine that I'm gonna
Go right
wait.
ahead, I'm still thinking of
Commissioner
stuff.
Reed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Al, is there a provision like in a construction project, you have a performance bond, some way to tie these folks in to a little insurance, if you will?
So I looked at the federal regulation, that's our standard. And it talks about prepayment and things of bonds and things of that nature. Traditionally, as you know, bonding is one that is traditionally used in the construction industry on construction. This morning I had a conversation, I wasn't able to bring Brad up to speed on the conversation, but with our Director of Accounting, Ms. Julie Lupus. And one of the things that we are seriously, if Brad allows us, which I'm hopefully he will, any new contractors that we have that, for example, with licensing, that we have to prepay. What I'm gonna incorporate in our procurement documents or our solicitation documents is a provision that PSTA does not prepay. And then they would have to pay for those licenses on their own. One of the advantages I think of doing that is that we know that a company is financially viable if they're able to float that for those 60 days. Additionally, Brad said, we have implemented in the procurement department reference checks. Man, even though it is a bidding scenario, I could use that, if the reference checks do not come back positive, I could use that as a matter of non-responsible. So I'm looking at not going through all the regulations to make sure what we're doing, including all that stuff in our documentation, our solicitation docs is legal, and I'm working with my staff and legal counsel on those approaches. So the short answer is no, I can't bond it,
Okay,
but we're not gonna prepay.
okay, thank you, Al. Thank you, Al. Set,
Okay,
Madam Chair.
so I'm gonna throw my 2 cents in really quickly. I know when I got the call in regards, I went to their Facebook page. And even their Facebook page was suspect. Every last one of their pictures were stock photos. And so that would have raised a flag for me, when I even looked at their Facebook page. As far as Microsoft is concerned and they're giving us the direction to go through legal, I would still question why they would not remove them per the email you received from them, that they are one of their third parties if they are having so much negative response and references from other vendors. I don't see why Microsoft can still continue to want to list them as such. So that would be something that I would hope we would want to engage Microsoft in that conversation. So then when I hear a statement is that they were a Microsoft third partner, but they couldn't provide our needs. Well, how are our needs so different from what we contracted them for? Because our needs were stated up front. So we should have known going into this what our needs were, and if not, they were to be.
Our needs were stated exactly, this was a low bid IFB, so they were the low bid. And the exact type of licenses we needed were stated, and they signed it, they agreed to provide that, and then they didn't. But just to clarify a point you made, our Microsoft representative that we work with did not say that TSW is a certified reseller, at least for our type of license.
Okay.
She actually was not even familiar with the company off the top of her head. But what she was saying was she cannot guarantee that they're not certified to sell some kind of Microsoft license. That's what Microsoft said, is that they might be a certified reseller of some kind of license, just not ours, state and local government, whatever. And then she sent Al this list of 6. I don't know if that's just the ones that she knew of, or I don't know what that means, but SHI, the second lowest bidder on our procurement, was on the list that she sent.
So hopefully with all the revelations that we've received in this process. I do see some things that I think we probably could have done going into it that we didn't. So with that being said, Mr. Burns, with the things that we're discussing now and hoping that we will now implement these into the procurement process moving forward, because some of these that we're voting on are on consent. So knowing that we now have implemented some of these upgrades to defer us making a mistake with something like this before, because it wasn't intentional. But I think I would rather have the extra steps and go through the extra steps and to ensure that we do, because just hearing the small revenue that we had in our legislative meeting that PSTA has, $178,000 is substantial.
Yes, ma'am.
It is substantial to just lose.
Yes, ma'am.
To just give away like that, and now we're incorporating additional costs, hiring a private investigator, now we have to start over again. So I'm hoping, and I don't know if there's a way that we can request this, that we look at the current process that we have now, and if we can see what the new steps added moving forward can look like for us to review that, so that we have a higher comfort level next time we need to approve something like this. Because you said we approved it in December, but we were proving it based on the steps that we were presented, that we would have due diligence and not being out of $178,000, because that's a lot of money.
Yes, Madam Chair, I understand exactly where you're coming from, and we can show those safeguards, that before and after, and the new safeguards that are in place. Taxpayer dollars is extremely important, and being good stewards of the taxpayer dollars is extremely important to PSTA.
Okay, thank you. Did you have any more questions, Commissioner?
Yeah, do we have a lot of licensing agreements right now that we're paying for Microsoft software, or is it with this been?
They expire, they maybe, well, we've gotten them to extend. Microsoft has worked with us to not shut us off. They've given us an extension until we get this fixed.
This one contract, I mean,
Yeah.
do we have other contracts with Microsoft on other?
Everything is bundled under this one contract.
Oh, everything.
We have other software license contracts, but for specifically Microsoft, like Kessia said, everything is bundled into one.
Commissioner Ian.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I assume this is gonna come before the Finance Committee.
Absolutely.
I would like to see a full written report presented to the committee, please, of how it happened, when it happened, and what's being done, detailed to recover it.
Roger that.
Thank you.
Right.
One
Yes.
quick one. Thank you, Madam Chair. Who was the expiring contractor on this?
SHI LLC,
And that's who we're going back to now?
yeah. They were the second lowest bidder on the procurement, and they're on the list.
Yeah.
I mean, to that point, again, I'm always touting and I'm a big fan of competition.
Yeah,
And I like to, I give Al little awesome awards when he actually gets a new company in here instead of just picking the incumbents, cause I don't feel like that gets PSA a good price unnecessarily. So we want to encourage competition, we just need to protect ourselves. And so we will try our best to vet these companies.
This is a very interesting twist on a cyber scam. When you originally said we had 178,000 stolen, I went, oh crap, somebody hacked our bank account, or we got a phishing email or something like that. But this is a long-winded way around of going through right.
Yeah.
I was gonna go through a procurement process so I can scam money out of some public agencies. It's a long way to go around to do it, but unfortunately it was effective. It doesn't sound like we were the only ones that had happened to.
Yeah,
That's so unfortunate.
I mean, yeah, they filled out the procurement, which is not something that normal thieves do. They've all the different forms and stuff, they signed, they've been on the Microsoft, they've shown people on the Zooms and stuff. They got the licenses and everything, but it's concerning.
I think we get to sign the check.
What?
I think the good thing is that a person signed the check and cashed it. That helps law enforcement greatly.
So the signature on the back of the check is just Technology Solutions
I know, but they
Worldwide.
still had to, they, there's a person behind that opposed to just
Somebody
a
did
company
that.
overseas.
Somebody
We
So-
have these supposed humans associated.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a bigger plus than it being digitally
You can
online.
do, the footage from the bank,
That is
so.
a big, much bigger plus.
So that is
One other
interesting.
question.
Yes.
Have we filed, I appreciate that you've got law enforcement involved in all that, but my experience with these things is what we're gonna end up with is a lawsuit. We're just gonna have to sue. I don't see them going arresting people for a contract dispute, but yeah, maybe they will, I don't know, but have we
Yeah, I
started,
think you're
have
right.
we filed any kind of suits against the company and the
No,
principal
that would be approved by the PSA board if we do that. The first step to doing that is to find them, and that's why we need the investigator.
And if you find them, do an asset search and see if there's something attached to.
I mean, I think you're right, but hopefully maybe the law enforcement might pressure them actually into paying us back.
Well, they seem to have some kind of guilt, because they've sent an emails. First they said they sent it, then they sent another one saying, we're going to send
And
it.
they said, we're sorry, we
sorry."
messed up on the first
All I had
term.
to do was say I was sorry for something, $178,000.
I'm not holding my breath for that money to show up.
Have faith.
So with that being said, I do think that was under other business. Is
Yeah,
there
and then,
any-
thank you, I guess. Looking for the action item. The next item is also not, awesome.
Full of good news today.
Yeah. Legal representation for the April 2025 Clearwater Ferry accident. This will be a contract that will go to the finance committee to authorize funds to work with to have specific representation for PSDA for the April accident that happened last year with the Clearwater Ferry with this company called Law Lane LLC out of Tampa. They've been working with us already to defend us, to defend PSDA. I've spoken, I think, to most of you about this, what's going on with this accident. The criminal trial is going on against the operator who hit the Clearwater Ferry, Jeff Knight, and that will be next fall, their trial. And then the civil claims are going on now too. There was a mediation that occurred 2 weeks ago involving Jeff Knight's attorney, the Clearwater Ferry's insurance company, Clearwater Ferry and PSTA, with the 41 claimants. There are 41 parties that have put in claims. And they spent all day and they did not get to agreement of 41 different lawyers. Maybe not surprising, but they really didn't even come close to getting anything done. There's a lot of things going on with it. PSTA has a contract with Clearwater Ferry that they indemnify PSTA and they agree to defend PSTA. That's what we have protecting us. But we still need our own legal representation to ensure to protect us, that hopefully will be reimbursed, if possible, by Clearwater Ferry and part of the defense.
Sure. Don't we have an umbrella insurance company for general liability? We don't have an umbrella,
We not for general liability, no,
nothing?
no. We have for our accident liability, but not, well,
We don't have an umbrella, I thought we were self-insured, but we had an umbrella in case it went over a certain amount.
I guess we do.
We do on that, and in this particular case, it's not our liability because we've been indemnified, but with the maritime lawyers that Brad is referencing, I think will help to protect our interests to ensure that we're not liable in this best extent possible.
I think what you're saying is that they're the ones that are supposed to be defending us, right? The umbrella company, are they doing it? Are they stepped up
No,
already?
Clearwater Ferry, Clearwater Ferry and their
No, I
insurance
mean,
company are.
our umbrella policy carrier, they should have attorneys defending us. That's why you have insurance. My insurance company defends me on claims.
No, I know, yeah, I mean, and that's something we can find out from
Let me
Diane.
talk to Diane, because to get my facts straight, and we can bring it up even at maybe finance committee.
Yeah,
the-
oh
the
yeah,
next finance
this will
committee.
go to the finance committee.
That'd be good.
So
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
making sure I'm
I'll
being
be there.
factual.
Just, we need somebody to be stepping up. If they got a claim, they're looking at a claim, they need to get involved.
The Trish will be back in February with the strategic plan, and then the last action item is the 1-year extension with Enterprise for the Vanpole operation. And this was requested by Commissioner Hazelton at the last board meeting to have a more in-depth discussion of how the Vanpole operation works, and so we put together a presentation about the history of the Vanpole taking over from T-BARDA and then how the federal funds support it. But we'll give that presentation and then hopefully, again, the finance committee already recommended one time to do the 1-year extension, but the board voted last week to bring this to the February meeting, so we'll do that. That is it.
Okay, thank you. I'm trying to find out, when is the next finance meeting?
18th of February.
February 18th? Okay, that might be a interesting one to sit in on, okay.
Commissioner Reed and I will be going to Tallahassee on 16 and 17, getting back here for that great finance committee.
Just in time.
So let me say out loud, I do not envy going to Tallahassee, so thank you for representing us in Tallahassee. That we do. Okay, seeing that there's no other business or anyone have anything that they wanna bring up to the committee at this point? Okay, our next meeting is March 4th at 10 a.m. and the meeting is now adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
That was
It was good.
Yeah.